everyone, and welcome back. In today's video I'm going to take you on a little bit of a tour so for pre-spring. One of the main questions that I get asked, and there's a couple that are recurring, is when to water cacti. The other popular one that I got asked was when to fertilize cactus, but I've already done a video on that. Now the question about when to water cacti is not a straightforward answer. I can't just say to you, oh well, water every second Tuesday and you'll be just fine. My golden rule, however, is that if you're in doubt, don't water. But I think the best way to demonstrate how I know when to water cacti and also how much is very much a visual thing, and it's a little bit of intuition as well. So what I'll do is I'm going to take you on a bit of a tour around, not like a full collection tour, but we're just going to hone in on a few plants and I'll show you what I'm looking for when I'm deciding whether to water or not. Now, you need to consider your own climatic conditions, obviously, but I can sort of help you identify some markers that might say, okay, this guy needs a water, that guy doesn't. So without further ado, let's have a little bit of a wander around and I'll show you what I'm going to water, how much, and also the frequency. So it's currently coming up towards springtime now. It's what is it? We're in about the middle of August, and then towards the end of September is when the spring equinox occurs, and then we officially flip over to spring. What I've noticed, however, is that regardless of what season we as humans might decide it is, the plants have their own internal clocks and their own markers that say, hang on a second, I don't care whether it's winter, whether you call it spring, whatever it might be, I'm going to grow now, and you need to be ready to respond to that. Just because it's not officially spring, it doesn't mean the plants don't have other ideas. So anywho, let's go and have a wander around, and I'll show you around and show you how to water, when to water, and how much. Alrighty, so just looking at the plants that we've got in this section here, it's fairly mixed, but there's some blocks of plants. So, looking over here, I'm going to pull out these two, which are Gymnocalycium. Now this is Pulaskii, and this is, very good question. I'm not 100% certain. Anywho, you can see by the body coloration that they are quite red and purple. Now what that tells me is that they are suffering from water stress. Now, I have already watered these guys once. I watered them around a week or two ago now, and what's actually happened is that they've actually puffed up and the bodies have become quite firm as opposed to being soft, which plants usually are when they're low in water. There are exceptions to that, and we'll get onto that a little bit later, but their bodies have become very, very firm. So that tells me two things. One is that they're waking up, and two, that they are actively taking on the water. Will I water these guys again? No, absolutely not, because they're nice and firm. The coloration is still showing signs of water damage, water stress, but they don't need any more. Okay, what I'm waiting for now is that they've sucked up the water, they've taken that on board, and then they'll start actively growing now, and then I'll wait another week or two to give them another drink. Gymnocalycium are somewhat rot prone, so you need to consider how likely a cactus is to rot before you water as well. So those two there, they've had one water, they're looking good, and then slowly over time they'll return to a nicer coloration rather than the stress colors. Now, looking at this guy here, this is a Neoporteria flacosa, if I can get it in the frame. There we go. So this guy here, no water for around 4 months at all, not one single drop. Probably 5 months now, actually. But if you can see there, see those lovely red spines? That's new growth. So this cactus, even though it's not been watered in so long, it's saying, no, I'm going to grow now, the conditions are right for me, so I will actually give this guy a little bit of a drink. Not a lot, just a very, very small amount. These guys are extremely rot prone, so just a small amount because he's actively growing, and I don't want to stall that growth. Having a look, I'll show you one that I won't water. This is another Neoporteria. I can see the new spines in there, and yes, they are somewhat bright if you can see them, but he's not far enough along in growth for me to water just yet. If he was not a rot-prone cactus, then yes, I would. But because he is, I need to wait a little bit longer for his growth to fully kick in, so I don't water that one. Then I'll show you one last one for this area and this type of cactus. So this is a pyrocactus. Now, remembering that pyrocactus, Neoporteria, Neochilenia, all of those have all been put into areoses. This guy here, you can see there's no active growth, so no water at all. I wait. If once it gets warmer, there's still no active growth, then I will give a small amount. But for now, it's still cold, he's not ready to wake up, I'll leave him be. Smaller plants are a little harder to judge. So this guy here is a Copia poa. If you look in there, you will see darker spines, which tells me that he's starting to wake up. And he's quite a small plant, so realistically you could get away with giving him a small amount of water and see what the response is. But I'm going to wait a little bit longer with this guy. I'm just not confident yet, so I'll leave him be. For very, very small plants, like this guy here, this is a Neochilenia, I believe, or Neoporteria. Might even be a Chilio Rebutia. Anywho, he's very, very small. Now, his capacity to handle drought is not as high as something with a larger body. In saying that, seedlings can still rot, and I've killed plenty this season. So, very, very small amount of water, just enough to get down to the roots, but not to soak all the way through. And I'll do that maybe every 2 to 3 weeks until it warms up. He is, however, actively growing, which you can see by the different coloured spines towards the crown. So he'll get a little bit of a drink. Moving on from there, Gymnocalycium. This guy here, oops. I've watered him a couple of times now, probably around 4 times. You can see he's nice and plump, he's a nice green colour, so he's not showing signs of stress. When we see the other Gymnocalycium, we'll talk about those in a little bit more detail, but I safely and happily water this guy every 10 to 14 days until it warms up a bit more, so he'll get a drink. Now, having a look at some seedlings that have already come out of the bag, and these are from last season. I watered these quite heavily throughout winter, and it's only really now that I'm noticing the negative effects of that, and that is this guy here, for instance. He's dead, he's rotted. So what I'll do now, these guys are large enough that they can actually handle a little bit of drought and it won't harm them. They've got enough water stored up. This guy here, this is an olive green colour. I expect him to die, but he's just hanging on there. That olive green usually means rot. So for these ones, I'll only actually water them now probably every 2 to 3 weeks because I've lost so many. You can see in here, this was all full. So just let them dry out. They don't need any more water for now. And especially these guys down here, which are Labivia famatomensis. So we just leave those, let them dry out, let their roots start going searching. If it warms up, then I'd obviously increase the water, or if they start going really red. Across here, these are the grafting stocks. Now, I watered these all the way through winter, didn't have any hesitation because these guys here, which are Cereus or Cereus, and then over here is Trichocereus spacianus, they're not considered to be rot prone, and I've never really had any issues with them. However, these have been dropping like flies. Every day I come in here, or every week, and there's usually another one dead. They just basically rot off from the base, and then if I did that to it, it'd just fall over. So I've stopped watering them. I went too heavy, and I understand that now, but it's unusual. Normally I would not have any hesitation, but that's just a sort of an example of when what you think you know doesn't always work. Let's go across now to Astrophytum, which probably one of the more challenging ones to get the watering right. They are rot prone and they do take a long time to wake up. In saying that, I have watered a couple. This one here I watered. You can see how wiggly he is. It's because he doesn't have very many roots and he was attacked badly by mealybugs. So I washed down the roots with alcohol a couple of months ago and it's burnt off the roots. but I put a little bit of water in just to see if there was some root development, and he's had 2 waters since then, and he's responded positively. He's not as wiggly as he was, which tells me that there's something going on underneath the soil. Okay, so these guys here are ones that I've watered as well. So these are just some little myriostigma. Now I've watered them twice. They've not responded, so that tells me they're not ready to wake up. They haven't rotted, which is good. But even though they're red, they're saying, hey, I want some water, I want something to drink. I've watered them twice, no response at all. So the colour hasn't even begun to change, and this is over about 3 weeks, 4 weeks now. So I would expect some colour change. So they're not ready, no water for them. All of the grafted stuff, the Trichoceros pachinoi with the astrophytums on the top of them, they'll get watered every week. They're not going to rot. It's very, very unlikely. Alright, so having a look through here, what am I going to water? Something like this, bit tricky to tell when to water it. I gave it a little water around 2 weeks ago. He's fattened up nicely. He's nice and hard now. So I'm happy to water him maybe every 2 to 3 weeks now. I know that he'll take on the water and actually use it. This guy back here, I've watered him twice. You can see, I'll pull him out. Let's see if we get a bit of light. Maybe if he wasn't backlit. There we go. You can see that he's still quite purple. His body's actually very spongy as well, but it's slowly improving. So I'll continue to water him maybe every week or 2, just because I'd like to get him a little bit fattened up for the growing season so that he flowers. Same as this guy down here. Very sunken in, but he's taken on some water, which is nice. So one of the main things that you're looking for is colour change and also firmness. So if you remember in the winter tour when we went around, I was squeezing them all, and that was to tell me sort of how squishy they were. But with the increase in water, you'll see that the body starts to get more firm, and you need to be patient and understand that they're not going to wake up instantly after a drink. It's going to take some time. They haven't been watered in 3 to 5 months. It's going to take a long time for them to pump back up and be fighting fit again. Astrophytum, however, you've got no indicator in terms of firmness because they're a hard-bodied cactus, so you can't squeeze them to get an indication. And Echinocereus, these guys here, are also somewhat firm-bodied, but they'll have a little bit of give, which can be a reasonable indicator. Going through here, I will water pretty much all of these now. They didn't get watered earlier. The mammillaria, now I find mammillaria, not so much the common garden varieties, but the more unusual ones, can be rot prone. They do come from very, very arid climates. So I'm going to give them a little drink, and I just want to see how they respond. There's no active growth on them apart from this guy here. You can see those nice new spines. The rest are all fully asleep, but I just want to see how they react. And after 4 to 5 months of drought, a small amount of water, and by a small amount I mean maybe 6 to 8 tablespoons worth of water, not enough to fully soak the pot. A week later I'll get an indication as to whether they're responding positively to the water or whether I just need to wait longer. You'll see in this guy here, he's starting to make flowers, those little fluffy bits and the little coloured bits in the middle. So that tells me absolutely ready for water, and it's a not.It, so they're pretty chill as well. They've got a good attitude. Alright, so from here I'm going to scooter over to the other side and let you know what else I'm going to be watering. Now for the Gymnocalycium, they have been watered twice now. I got a little bit worried about this guy here. He got a little bit soft down the base after the second water, so I won't give him another water. It's more about monitoring at this stage and making sure they're ready to wake up. Some are starting to flower, which you'll see that tiny little fluffy bit in there. That tells me he's flowering, and that's a direct response to the water. They weren't pushing out those before I watered. But the bodies have pumped up a lot. They still look very, very stressed from lack of water, which you can see here. This should be a nice green colour, but he's got that purple tinge. But that is actually improving after the second water. So I'll continue to water all of them except for a few. The one that I won't be watering is this guy here, which is Platigona. He's got a firm body and he's nice and pumped up, so I'll leave him for a week and he can have a rest. But all the others, I find that Gymnocalycium need a little bit of water to wake up, as opposed to a lot of others that go based on climatic conditions. So watering doesn't, for the most part, induce rooting or waking up or anything like that. But for Gymnocalycium, I find that they need a little bit of encouragement and they'll respond well to it. So they'll continue to get a water. I don't water fully, I only do a half water, just enough to sort of wet maybe up to there on the pot, and then it's going to soak through, but I don't want it to be completely rushing out the base of the pot. Alright, onto these guys. So we've got over here Erioses and some Copiopoa, also some Trichoceros, which have grown incredibly well. Again here, what I'm looking for when I go through is, okay, who's got new spines, which is this guy here. Not enough though to allow me to water, but what I do look at is this guy here, which is flowers. You can see those little dots. There's 3 at the top just here, and then a couple more down the base there. He's flowering, so he's awake. You're not going to flower if you're not awake, so he'll get a little bit of water. This guy here, starting to wake up as well, those nice red spines. These haven't been watered in months, so the fact that they're waking up is saying, okay, I'm ready, the conditions are right, I'm ready to go into the growing season. This guy back here, you'll see those little pink dots. He's getting ready to flower. As is this guy here. Sorry, no, this guy's getting ready to grow again. He's got spines. Here we go. So that's what I'm looking for. The ones that I won't water. Okay, let's have a look. This guy here, no activity. This guy here, no activity. Same as this one here. Remembering that when it does get warmer, towards the middle of spring, if there's still nothing, then I will give them a little bit. But for now, when I'm watering at what can be considered a risky time, no, I don't take chances. I need a clear visual indicator. This guy here, a little bit tricky to see because he's so woolly. See those nice black spines coming through from the wool? Yep, so he's waking up. But this is Copiopoa, very, very rot prone. So just a small amount, not very much at all. This guy here, not awake yet. These beauties here, which are the Trichoceros hybrids that I got from my friend, you can see they are just growing so quickly. I water these all the way through winter. I don't have any hesitation in watering Trichoceros through winter. Some of the more desert varieties, yes, you would probably be a little bit more hesitant, but for these sorts of ones, absolutely no issue at all. They're just growing so quickly. The grafts, I really only slowed down watering those for maybe 3 weeks, 4 weeks in I think June, late June, July, yeah. So they just all continue to get watered. It's Perisciopsis. It's highly unlikely that they'll rot. Very, very unlikely. These are my lithops. So these won't get watered at all. Not yet. They're not ready. They're splitting, which you can see here. All of them are splitting. So once the old leaves dry up and go like this, there's papery husks, then I'll water. But this one here, I'm still going to wait a little bit longer. He hasn't fully broken through the skin. So no water for them as yet. Lophophora. Alrighty, so this is going to be a little bit mixed and a little bit sort of difficult to give an indication. I've got these ones here, which are rooted offsets. I've watered these already. Very, very little response, but I'm going to water them again because they got cut off, which they lost moisture, and then rooted and then not watered because it was towards winter time or autumn, late autumn. So I'm going to keep watering these. If they die, it's not going to be the end of the world for me. I've got more. The ones, however, that are on their own roots, these guys here, they're very soft, as you can see there. No water for them yet. Not warm enough yet, but you're not going to get a visual indicator with Lophophora. It's not as if they just pump out new spines or anything like that, and they grow so slowly, it's very, very difficult to gauge. So I just wait till it's warmer. Echinopsis or Echinopsis, however you want to say it. I watered these throughout winter. They do not like being dry for long periods of time. They sort of they crack it a little bit, and they tend to go this sort of colour. This can be either be from not enough water or too much light. So I continue to water the Echinopsis even when it's freezing cold. This guy here, some flowers. He'll get a drink as well. So realistically, it's just about recognizing the visual cues of when to water. Have a look for active growth. These are nice, good indicator. You can see that nice soft green at the top and then the fresh spines. Give them a little bit of water. If they respond positively, it doesn't mean that you go just go in and start watering them, twice a week or something silly like that, especially at this period of time, which is one of the most dangerous times in my experience, is pre-spring. Go for the visual cues, go lightly, and just learn to sort of read your plants and what they're telling you. Remembering that not all of them make it as easy. So Gymnocalycium, you need to sort of bit of trial and error, and just feel the bodies. Some of the gymnos are hard-bodied and others are softer. So the Mahanovici, this guy here, pretty hard-bodied plant, so you don't get that squishy indicator. But just looking at the coloration, so we've got purple and soft. I'll give him a drink. But if there's no activity, we just wait. Alright everyone, well thanks for watching. I hope you found the video helpful somewhat. It's probably one of the harder elements of cacti to explain and show people. You can't just say water your cactus now or water it then. And obviously we're all in different climates as well, but hopefully you've picked up some of the visual cues that I look out for, and that helps you in deciding whether to water or not. But just remember the golden rule, if in doubt, don't water. It's very unlikely that you'll kill a cactus from underwatering, but it's highly probable that you will from overwatering. Alright everyone, thanks for watching, and as always, happy gardening. Bye.